Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Fanadian here. I'd like to welcome you all to another video, and today I'm going to be talking about 5 Miami Dolphins players that need to prove themselves in 2021. Last week I did 5 Miami Dolphins players I think will improve the most, so now we're kind of doing like the opposite of that video. One rule for this video I want to say is there's no rookies on this list, and there's no players that were rookies last year, so no Tua, just because I feel like it's unfair to have these guys on this list since they haven't really gotten a chance to prove themselves as is. So let's get started with the first guy on this list, and this is a guy I've heard a ton of talk about this offseason, maybe even the most behind Tua, and that's running back Myles Gaskin, and that's because he's going to have an opportunity to earn the starting role and prove that he could be the starting running back for multiple years instead of just this year where he's coming in as the starter, right? And there's some people that are big Myles Gaskin fans. I'm a Myles Gaskin fan. He pretty much saved my fantasy football season last year. But when I watch a lot of videos about people talking about the Dolphins, whether it's like Chris Sims on TV or the Goat House on YouTube, there's a lot of people questioning just how good this Dolphins running game is going to be. And there's also a lot of people questioning if Myles Gaskin's going to be able to stay healthy throughout the year. And that's going to be huge for Gaskin, right? Like, if he could come out here and ball out and show that he's worked on his weaknesses and that he can be the primary running back for this team, he's going to have like multiple years where he's going to be getting paid pretty handsomely, I feel like. Maybe not like top running back money, but he's going to be doing good for himself. But one thing Brian Flores and Chris Grier make clear is they're constantly looking to upgrade at every position, and there was rumors over the draft that they tried to trade up to get Najee. They wanted Javonte Williams, and even last year they tried to sign Le'Veon Bell. So they have looked for other guys that could take over at the running back position and compete with Myles or take that starting job. So if he doesn't come out here this year and show that he can be the guy, I feel like there's a good chance we might see the Dolphins draft in a running back early in the draft next year. So a lot riding on the season for Myles Gaskin here, and a lot for his other guy here that I'm going to talk about. That's Preston Williams, wide receiver. And Preston is a guy that has shown flashes that he can be great. He seems like a really hard worker. He's got a lot of good physical traits, but 2 years with the team, 2 season-ending injuries. If he wants to get like a big contract, because this guy is an undrafted free agent playing on that undrafted free agent contract, which are really small compared to the year 2 contracts that players get. Well, not year, but their second contracts is what I meant to say. There's a big difference in money, and if he goes out here and gets injured again, it's going to make it hard for him to get a big payday. But if he comes out here and goes through the season fully healthy, can show that he's worked on his catching, he doesn't have as many drops, he's going to have a chance to get paid pretty good. The other thing is there's a lot of competition at wide receiver this year, so if he wants to, get on the field and play a lot of snaps and prove himself this year, he's going to have to show that he has worked on some of those things like his drops, and he has developed. And that first game of the season without Will Fuller, I've mentioned that a lot for these wide receivers, it's going to be pretty huge. So this season is pretty big for Preston, because this could be the difference between him getting like a big bag and a small bag. And it's pretty similar for the third guy on this list, another offensive player, and that is center Matt Skura, who the Dolphins picked up from the Ravens. I've seen this guy as a pretty big question mark to a lot of fans. There's a lot of people who wanted us to, draft a center, maybe sign a different one this year. Just because the thing with Skura is, on 661 offensive snaps last year, he only allowed 1 sack, which is pretty good, but he only put up like a 50.2 PFF grade, and that's because he had some pretty big snapping issues, right? So even though he was good in the blocking and passing game, if you watch some of those Ravens primetime games, there is some pretty huge blunders, and he's really going to have to get those under control, because if Matt Skura comes in here and he plays good and his snapping is good and he is dominating in the running and the pass blocking game, he can become the Dolphins' long-time center here. He can get a pretty big contract. The Dolphins do have plenty of cap space next year, but if he comes in here and kind of stinks it up, I don't see him getting that extension. We also don't really have anyone that can also play center on the team, so if he comes in here and stinks, that could be pretty bad for this Dolphins team, and I could see him getting a lot of heat from the fans. And the season can really go 2 ways for him. Either he comes out and balls out and people love the guy and they're like, let's sign this dude, or I can see this guy getting a pretty big hate group going for him if he, continues to have some bad snapping issues. So, pretty much the same recurrent theme for all three of those guys. The season's pretty big for them because, if they want to get paid, they're going to have to, prove themselves this year. So let's talk about some defensive guys here, starting with Nick Needham, one of the diamond in the rough players the Dolphins found, another undrafted free agent last year on his undrafted free agent contract. If he wants to get paid, he's going to have to come out here and show that he can be the starting nickel corner for this team, which is going to be difficult for him because the Dolphins have brought in a lot of young players, and there's a lot of young players coming for that spot. So if Nick comes in and doesn't impress, I can see one of these young players like Noah Benogany, Javon Holland, and many of these other ones they're signing. Like every week we're signing another undrafted free agent corner. All these guys are going to be gunning for that nickel spot and coming for Nick's jobs. So he really needs to show that he can continue to improve and develop if he wants to continue to have the role on the team. I feel like this is a player where some people like him, some people don't. He had some good games, some bad games. He did go up against some top receivers like Keenan Allen and was able to defend them. He's going to have to show that he could continue to do that this year if he wants to get that bag and stay with the team and not, get replaced by one of these younger players. And going on to player number 5 here, I got Vince Biegel. And the main thing he's going to have to show is that he can bounce back from that ACL injury. So Vince Biegel joined the team at the start of that tank season, led the team in sacks, and then last year in training camp, before the season started, he tore his ACL and missed the full season. And he's going to have to show that he could bounce back to that prior form if he wants to get playing time, because the Dolphins have upgraded a lot at that outside linebacker position since last time he played, right? We drafted Jalen Phillips in the first round. There's been talk about Emmanuel Ogbah moving outside to outside linebacker. Andrew Van Ginkel's been stepping up pretty big, and Brennan Scarlett, who they signed in free agency this year, is going to be competing for Vince for that kind of backup spot. So if he isn't able to bounce back fully, I could see this guy almost fully losing a spot on the team. If he does bounce back fully, I could see him really earning a spot as a rotational player, similar to Zach Sealer last year, and I could see him getting like a pretty decent contract. The other thing with Vince Biegel is he has quite a few haters because of the infamous Twitter gif he posted on a post about the Dolphins maybe trading for Deshaun, which got a lot of people hating on Vince, a lot of people saying he's a Tua hater, and a lot of accusations started coming out against him because of that post about people saying he's a guy that leaks information and stuff. I don't really think any of that's true because it's, based on nothing. It's just people being angry at him. But if he comes in here and he starts balling out, a lot of those haters are going to go away. But if he comes in here and doesn't play very good, that hate group's going to get very vocal, as they tend to do, and he's going to be getting roasted on the internet a lot. So if he wants to come in here, earn a spot on the team, not get a bunch of hate this year, he's going to have to come in here and ball out and prove himself. And I think that's, a pretty solid list of 5 guys. Who do you think needs to prove themselves this year that isn't like a rookie? If you want to say Tua, you could say Tua, because that probably is the guy that needs to, prove himself the most, even though saying that about a second-year quarterback, sounds wrong, really, but that's how it happens. That's with the internet now. A lot of people expect things from you right away. There's a lot of people out there hating, and these are 5 guys where they could get a lot of hate if they don't come in here and perform, and if they do come in here and perform, they could all make themselves millions of dollars. So thanks for watching, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Subscribe for more Dolphins content, and until then, I'll see you in the next video.